Hi there. In this video, we're going to explore what is AWS, and we'll try to create an instance, and we'll also try to connect to that instance using PuTTy. Because most of the people in the world, I believe, they use Microsoft Windows as their workstation. So connecting using PuTTy has become very important. On the other hand, people who use Mac, they already have an application called Terminal, which makes it way simpler to connect to an AWS instance. All right, we'll talk about that later. So in order to to start with, you can have a free tier account on aws.amazon.com, and make sure, and you have to give your credit card, but you can always keep monitoring, always monitor your amount, and they provide a lot of leverage. They don't charge you for 1 year, and depending upon what you have been using. So just have enter your credit card details and have an account, and you can keep an eye on your on the bill, but they provide 750 hours of EC2 usage and all that, so you won't get charged. I mean, at least that's what I see when I talk to my friends, and even I have not been charged. I've been connected since quite some time now. All right, so AWS Amazon.com, when you go, at one glance you can see what services, what products the company has, AWS has. Like we saw in the previous video, AWS is like the I gave an analogy of people walking to a water source, picking up a container, going to a water source, and filling up the container with the drinking water and walking back to their homes. And today, that was all physical work. And today, we get water right in our homes. We just have to turn up the lever of the faucet, and we have water in the house. So that's what exactly what AWS is. Whether you want a server, whether you want storage, whether you want a database, or any other IT infrastructure component or hardware, it is available right on your screen as soon as you connect to the internet. So just to have a quick understanding, for computing, these are the compute services. The most popular one is the Amazon EC2, and you can see all these. And then when it comes to storage, these are the storage services that Amazon provides, S3 being most common one. And then when it comes to databases, these are the databases that Amazon has, like the Aurora database, RDS, Dynamo, and there are different features of this database. Like Redshift is more like for data warehousing, and then there are some MySQLs and NoSQLs and all that. They have some tools, some services for migration, and then you can just go on and on, whether it's management, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's mobile services, security, business productivity. They have a service for everything. So all these are services. So if you want memory, it's no longer a physical memory chip that you need to go to a store or order and procure it and then install on your server or in your machine. So it's all available right on AWS as soon as you connect to it. All right, so memory is inbuilt in these instances, by the way. All right, so we'll see how to create, once you have an account, we'll see how to create an EC2 instance. And as it is by default, they have made it very simple to create a simple EC2 instance. Right now, so you just sign into your console, and by default you will land into some region. Like I landed in US West 2. You see on the right hand side, when you log into your AWS account, or management console, you'll see on the right hand side, you'll see a region that you connect to. Now, Oregon happens to be a US West Coast region, but if you want, and you know, if you're in the East Coast, then you can pick up an East Coast region. That's I mean, it's your discretion. So I believe I was thinking that by default it would figure out your geographical location and would give you the closest data center, but sometimes it does not. I still need to understand that, but you can definitely go ahead and pick up the region that is closest to you. So obviously, if you're in US, you don't need to pick Singapore or Sydney or Seoul, because that would be too far. So that's a actual data center online. So the closer the the data center to you, to your physical location, geographical location, the smoother, the faster the response and the services will work for you. Even services in other places could also be very good too. It's all depending upon what you're going for, but closer the better. So I'm going to pick this service, this region, and right now, so let's go ahead and create an EC2 instance. We can deep dive into all the other services later as we move along, but as a first step, as a beginner, let's try to create an EC2 instance. So you can click on services and click on EC2, and then it'll take you to an EC2 dashboard. It'll just show you how many instances are running, how many EC2 instances you have that are running, and then how many key pairs you have, how many security groups, and all the other details. So right now you can see I have 0 EC2 instance running, and I can go ahead and launch an instance. So what is an instance? Instance is just a virtual private server. Okay, like it says, to start using Amazon EC2, you will want to launch a virtual server known as the Amazon EC2 instance. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So the compute cloud, they club together and they call it C2. So Elastic Compute Cloud is EC2. All right, and down below it shows me the region I'm connected to. I'm connected to US East Ohio, and if there are any scheduled events, it will show me here. And so it shows the availability zones 2A, 2B, 2C, and we'll see more details about those. But let's go ahead and try to create an instance, which is actually launching an instance. Okay, and it gives a note here: your instances will launch in the US East Ohio region. Alrighty. So once you click on that launch instance, the first step is to choose an Amazon machine image, or AMI. An Amazon machine image is like a template. It's a pre-bundled package of OS, the operating system, and then some of the tools that are built in there. So in this particular one, like Amazon Linux, it's a free tier eligible, so it's free to use. You see that it has the Linux OS, and along with that, it also has some the other tools like Python and Ruby and Perl and Java and some other tools. All right. So this entire thing is a package. It's just a pre-installed software. Like you get a server, like you get machine, traditionally speaking, and then you install each of these packages one by one. First you have to do something with the OS. You have to install the OS first of all, and then you go ahead and install the other packages and tools and applications that you want. So we don't need to do all of that. We just have to pick the best AMI that would serve the purpose that we have, the kind of applications that we are holding, that we are intending to create. So similarly, you have Red Hat Enterprise, you have SUSE Linux Enterprise, and then you have Ubuntu Server 16.04 LTS. And HVM is a hardware virtual machine. HVM stands for hardware virtual machine. SSD stands for solid state disk or solid state drive. So here you have an AMI, an Amazon Machine Image, which is an OS of Microsoft's Windows Server 2016. That's the base, and then that's also available as a free tier to choose from. And if you're launching a database instance, then you can try Amazon RDS. You can try that using later once you, I think that will be the next step. Once you know how to launch an EC2 instance and connect to it using PuTTy, the next step would be to try to launch a database using RDS, Relational Database Service. And then so you can see so on and so forth. There are multiple AMIs that Amazon Web Services provides, and all these are available here under they show up as under Quick Start, but you can also go to AWS Marketplace, and there are images created by third parties, and you can pick them also, but then there is a charge for them. So you can install certain tools on the instances that on the server you're trying to build. There's also community AMI, which is Amazon, which is AWS maintained, but here there could be some verified AMI, or some could be not verified or not really. You don't have any review on that, like, you know, they got the license. I mean, they went through the procedure of creating their own AMI, but then whether it has been in use, whether how good it is. So you need to explore that first before before you pick up an AMI from AWS, from community AMI or AWS Marketplace. You can also build your own AMI. Try that option later. Okay, and then all this will show up here. So for now, for this demo, we're going to use what comes up default. We're going to use the Amazon Linux AMI, and it shows your 64-bit. If you have a doubt about whether your laptop or machine is 64-bit or not, you can quickly press Windows and X on the laptop and click on System. Once you click on System, it would bring up the details of your machine, and there it is. Your system type is 64-bit operating system. It's time64 based processor, and it gives you other details about your machine. Excuse me. Alright, so with all the details that you have here, memory and all, it will tell you that your system type is 64-bit. So once again, you need to press Windows and X key. The Windows and X key will bring up this quick menu. These are like a shortcut, and then you can click on System. Alright, so 64-bit, I'm 100% sure I need this, and all I need to do is select, and I don't need, I've given my credit card details, I don't need to worry because it's a free tier eligible. That means once I launch this instance, I have 750 hours of time that I can have this instance running over in 1 year. Alright, so the step here is the step 2 here. Choose an instance type. Like here they show these are the different types of instances you can choose from. They have a column called family. Like what kind of instance is it? Type of instance is one thing, but family is another. So is it a general purpose? Like for now, I will just pick up general purpose. They give you some details there. General purpose instances provide a balance of compute, memory, and network resources, and are a good choice for many applications. They are recommended for small and medium databases, data processing tasks that require additional memory, caching fleets, and for running backend servers for SAP, Microsoft, SharePoint, and other enterprise applications. So that's what general purpose instances are for. And some of the common types are T2 Nano or T2 Micro. Micro instances are available for AWS free usage tier. For the first 12 months following your AWS sign up date, you get up to 750 hours of micro instances each month. So 750 hours per month. And when your free usage tier expires, or if your usage exceeds the free tier restrictions, you pay standard pay as you go service rates. So you can learn more about that. And so these are like general purpose instances, EC2 instances. They begin with T2 and they are followed with nano, micro, small, medium, large, and then you have like X large and all that. And then you also have then M4 large, M4 X large, all this. So basically the type of instance is, the name is changing because the number of virtual CPUs and memory is changing. So the number of virtual CPUs that it has and the memory, that the different kind of combinations they have provided. If you want 2 CPUs and 8 gig memory, then you can go for T2 large. So if you need 8 virtual CPUs and 32 gigs of memory, then you can go for T2 2x large. So this helps for migration when you already have a physical server running and you know what the memory footprint, you know what is the CPU and memory it is using right now in production. This table helps you to pick up the right kind of instance, right type of instance for your AWS setup. And similarly, there are other types of other families of instances. Like you can see here, there's a compute optimized instance. If your application needs a lot of CPU power, then this is like compute optimized instances have a higher ratio of virtual CPU usage to memory than other families, and the lowest cost per CPU among all other Amazon EC2 instances. So you can read on along those lines. So and then so these type of instances, they begin with C4, and we already seen general purpose begins with T2, M3, M4, and then compute optimized types begin with C4, and then you have GPU compute. GPU are for graphics. If your application needs a lot of graphic processing to be done, you can use okay, all right, some change happened the other day when I was looking at this was graphic processing unit. Right here, when on this tooltip, it showed up graphic processing unit, and they have changed this, by the way. They now call it as general purpose GPUs. But as far as I understand, and also you can make out from the CPU and the memory that they have thrown into this kind of server, in this kind of a setup, is instance type is too high. So like graphics, for example, if your videos, like, you know, if you have all a university wants to put all their lectures into that have been recorded, lecture videos onto an application, this would be the instance type to go to. So GPU compute is basically, though they say general purpose, that doesn't sound right, because general purpose is already a different kind of family up above. All right, so this is graphic oriented usage. So graphic processing unit. So look at the number of CPU here. Look at the memory here. 488 gigs of memory. So obviously that's going to be a great resource for running any kind of video application. Similarly, when you scroll down, you'll see memory optimized instance type. It's a family of instance types, and they are usually like R4 large and R4 X large. So if your application is more memory intensive, like you have an in-memory database, or you need more cache, and you need the entire application, everything to run in memory. This is the instance type, instance family to go to. And you can see all these are EBS storage so far what we have seen. EBS stands for Elastic Block Store. So that's one good storage option to pick, because it is, as it says, it is elastic. It is, it scales as much, only it scales up only when you need more storage compute power on those block store. So here we come back to the families that we are looking at. Memory optimized. These are the memory optimized. You can see how many virtual CPUs and how many gigs of memory is being thrown into these instance types. And the last one that we have is the storage optimized instance family. And so here, like you can see, storage optimized instances provide you with direct attached storage options optimized for applications with specific disk I/O and storage capacity requirements. We recommend i2 instances for NoSQL databases, which benefit from very high random I/O performance and low request and latency of direct attached SSDs. And then they give more details on that. So storage optimized family of instances, they start with D2. So D is like from database. I2 is they also begin with I2 or I3. All right, so that's a little bit about the type of instances that are available, and then you can see the other details, what kind of storage there is involved. And like you saw, EBS is one, but the other is SSD, which is solid state disk or solid state drive. Those are the kinds of storage is available. Excuse me. All right, so, and then you can see network performance. If I pick this instance, what is going to be my network performance like? So they say it's like low to moderate, and then if your application is highly network intensive, then you can pick up a moderate instance type or a high, and then they have specific ones like 10 gigabyte or 20 gigabyte, and then so on and so forth. All right, and the last column that says is IPv6 support. So we'll see those details in a few. All right, so I'm going to pick up. I need to choose an instance type, and like they say over here, like it's pick this one, please. You'll be fine with this one. So that's for demo purpose. You can try picking others also. Here they specify this is a free tier eligible, but the others are not. The AMIs, there are more AMIs available for free tier, but there are not many instances available for free tier usage. So this is the only one. Okay, so all right, once you select, check the checkbox next to the instance family name, and then you can go. They have this button right here, but I think they should be on the right hand side, like the last button. But don't click on this right away, because we need to take a look at a few things. Even when you're doing a real time instance creation, you need to check other options too. You can either click here like next configure instance details, or you can also click on the link above here. So we're going to go through all these steps. So there are two ways: either click on the top, or you can click here at the bottom. Since it's close to this one and this is the final destination, I just click this one. Either ways. All right, so this is step 3, and like you say, it says configure instance details, and these are all the details we can set up. The first one here is the number of instances. This is a simple analogy is a photocopy machine. When you want to take a photocopy of a sheet of paper. If you want 10, all you do is add, mention it, you need 10 copies of it. Or if you want 100, all you do is just type in 100 and then you press one button start and you get 100 copies of the same page. Similarly, you've already picked up the AMI, the Amazon Machine Image, and you've picked up the instance type, and so you know, for example, so you know maybe you need more than one, you need 2, or you need 10, or you need 15, 20. So you don't have to go back and select all those options for each and every instance that you need. So that's the big benefit of scalability right there. So you can say 1, 2, 10, or whatever. So for example, in this case, if you pick 2 in this free tier account, since it is 750 hours per month, that is the limit of the free usage. If you take 2, then that will get divided per month. All right, so for this demo we'll just take 1, and then the other options are like purchasing option, and then again they have this nice tool tip here. When you click on that, when you just mouse over on the eye, like information, you can choose to launch more than one instance at a time. All right, so thanks for the information. I didn't know I could write so many. I could write a bigger number. All right, that's good. So purchasing option, you can read more about spot instances. What are spot instances? Spot instances are like you can see, you can bid for an instance, and it reminds me of clear inside a store. So when there's spare hardware and spare resources available at AWS that are not being used, AWS can use those resources to match the bidding price that you are asking for, and see if they can provide you a resource that way. Okay, the next one is network. So your network is nothing but a VPC you will connect to. It's a virtual private cloud. VPC stands for virtual private cloud. You by default they provide you a VPC, and then you can also create one of your own. But then we're getting out of demo then. Okay, that's the real-time scenario you can explore. Subnet is is the availability zone. So there are, in every region there are subnets available to support the instance that you are trying to install. So here you can see these are the subnets available. They are the availability. This is the availability zone in which you have these subnets. You can pick one from here, and that should be fine. All right. The next one is auto sign in, public. So these are the default settings already there. You can always mouse over and read details about that. I wanted to read this. It's a range of IP addresses in your VPC that can be used to isolate different EC2 resources from each other or from the internet. Each subnet resides in one availability zone. All right. So once you're on this page, you can just read all these options: EIP, elastic IP address, and then IAM is the identity and management. Identity and access management. So like you have roles and privileges in traditional databases. So you can mouse over and read the details on all these. But for this demo purpose, we are going to make it a little quick, because reading you can always do by yourself. Just a quick word on tenancy. Tenancy is the whether you want your instance to be run on a shared server or a dedicated server. So like it says here, it's by default it will be shared, and it's run a shared hardware instance. And the other options you have is are dedicated, run a dedicated instance, and then you have a dedicated host, launch this instance on a dedicated host. So dedicated host is the entire machine dedicated for your instance, and then you can also have a dedicated instance wherein one user would have one instance dedicated for that user only. All right, and you can look at further details. By default, the network interface is this is like a NIC card. It's an Ethernet network interface, and it has a subnet detail here. And this is the step 3 of configuring your instance detail, or your instance. All right, going forward, step 4 would be to add storage. By default, they give you one kind of storage here. This is a general purpose SSD, solid state disk or solid state drive. They give you 8 gigs in this default one, and this is IOPS. So IOPS is input output per second, input operation output, input and output operation per second, or read write operation per second. So the baseline is 3 IOPS per GB. So 3 read writes per second per GB, and with a minimum of 100 IOPS. So, and it can just burst to 3000 IOPS. So that's the range. It can, minimum 100 and max 3000 IOPS that can happen with this on this instance. All right, and they give you some details. The volume type is root, and the device type is going to look like this, and this is a snapshot. So snapshot is a backup of an EC2 volume that's stored in S3. You can create a new volume using data stored in a snapshot by entering the snapshot's ID. You can search for public snapshots by typing text in the snapshot field. Descriptions are case sensitive. All right, so this is some detail about the storage that we are going to have on our instance. Click next, and here you can add tags. Tags are like labels on the instance. It's not a must right now, so we'll just let it be as is, and click next to configure the security group. So security group is very important while launching an EC2 instance. You cannot launch an instance without a security group. You either select an existing one or you create a new one. So what you can do additionally is you can override this name with your own name. You say this is my security group. I'm in Ohio. Just say 01 is my security group number. All right, name. So in this on this page, what you can do is you can add some rules. Like you see, by default they've already added one rule, that is that SSH sessions can come in on to connect to this EC2 instance, and using this protocol TCP/IP. That's the port number they'll use, and what would the source of the device connecting. It would be custom, or it would be from anywhere, or it would be my IP would be the safest one to go for right now, because if you want an EC2 instance to be connected, not to be connected by anyone else but by yourself, then you can just pick my IP. But for this demo, we'll pick anywhere. You can also add more rules, like if you know that many people connections are going to come from HTTP, from servers using HTTP or HTTPS, or people are going to connect using remote desktop, so you can pick RDP, or people are going to connect from some kind of database like MySQL, Aurora, or Redshift, or Postgres, or Oracle RDS. So for security purpose, like if you have this kind of a rule here, then IP addresses or connections from only that kind of source, that type of source, will be allowed. All right, for this demo purpose, we'll just use the first one, and I'll leave that anywhere there, though it was custom, because that's also fine for now. And that's kind of one of the last stage, like sixth stage is kind of the last one, and then you don't have any other buttons but review and launch, but it will still give us an option to review. Once you click on that review and launch, you'll see the review page where it gives you details about what you have picked up so far. You see your AMI is this. Oh, and someone said, hey, by the way, that does not have Linux. Oh, you want to change it? All right, I click on edit, and I can pick another image. Oh, it has something else, Ubuntu. I can pick Ubuntu instead. It will change it for me. Oh, nothing to change, no worries. I just cancel out. All right, so coming back to this page, if you click on edit AMI, if you don't need to click here to, if you don't want to change anything, you need to click here to come back, because when you click on this edit AMI, it takes you to step 1. Like you see, step 1 is underlined here, so you are right at step 1 literally. So if you select another one, then obviously things change now. So you have to redo steps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to come back to step 7. So if you don't want to change anything, you click on review here. All right, that'll bring you back on the page that you were on. So once again, it gives you the details about AMI that you have picked so far for this particular instance, and then it gives you the details of the instance that you have. It's a T2 micro instance with number of virtual CPUs and memory and all, and then it gives you security group that you have created, and then it'll also give you the details about the instance over here. Number of instances that you're going to launch is 1. You did not pick 10 or 100, and then it'll give you back there when you on instance details the shutdown behavior. You can click on the drop down, and if you can choose how you want your instance to behave when you click on stop. So maybe I can go back and show. That's one interesting feature. Step 3, configure instance details, where you have here it says specify the instance behavior when an OS level shutdown is performed. Instances can be either terminated or stopped. So when the OS is shut down, you can pre-configure here saying that you stop my instance or you terminate my instance. Okay, so that's what you can specify there, and I think we'll just move on further again. My security group went away, but that's okay. Okay, all right, so we were just reviewing all these details. Instance details was where we were a minute ago, and you can also see the storage that you have picked up or that's assigned to your instance for now, and those are the details that we went through. And then tags. Tags are like names, labels for the instance. We can add that later. I'll show you how. All right, so all these details are in here, and we are good to go. We can launch the instance, which is create the instance. It is the EC2 instance that we're going to create. I clicked on launch, and when you click on launch, you come across a screen, a dialog box, wherein it asks you to select an existing key pair or create a new key pair. A key pair is very important in AWS. AWS does not ask you to enter passwords in any place anywhere. So what we have to do is create a key pair, and using a key pair, you might have heard. You might have known that every server has a key, a public key and a private key, like SSH key. So and that's a safer way to, that's more secure way to connect to a machine than a password. So that's because it's very strong. So here we are going to create a new key pair. All right, and you can give it a name, like this is my new key pair or whatever you want, based on, it would be based on the server kind of thing you're using. And just say OH01. Okay, I just want to mention the time, just because I think I have other key pairs, so I should be able to identify this one for this demo. All right, now before you proceed further from here, like before you go to launch instances, beware, like they have this note also. You see this download key pair, it's very important. You have to download the private key, the .pem file, before you can continue. Store it in a secure and accessible location. You will not be able to download the file again after it's created. So like you're creating this key pair, it's going to create a .pem file somewhere on your piece, into this instance. But if you want to download a copy of that key pair, you need to download it now, and we need it for our PuTTy connection. So this is the only options. Once you create this launch instance, you will not be able to download this key pair for this instance. You'll have to create a new instance, by the way. All right, create a new pair. So all done, we have a copy of it, and we click on launch instance or launch instances, because there can be multiple of them. All right, congratulations, you've just launched your first EC2 instance. Launch status, it gives you some detail here. Basically they're still launching right now. If you click here, it will take you to the instance page. If you click here, it will give you some kind of log that it has generated. Creating security group, successful, that's a name. Authorizing inbound rules, successful. Initiating launches. So it takes a few minutes for the instance to launch. We'll get there, we'll take a look quickly. But before we leave this page, just take a quick look here. It gives you some details. You'll get notified of estimated charges and all, because since we are not dealing with physical hardware at all, it's all metered online, like your cell phone data usage bill or your electricity bill. It all depends on usage. So the more you use the computing power or the storage or any of the services, the more you will be charged. It is like pay as you go. All right, so how to connect to to your instances, they give you some details right here. They have some user guides here. All right, and then down below on the right, it's kind of pretty hidden. I mean, in the first couple times you won't notice that there is a button at the bottom of this page. You have a button here that says view instances, which takes you directly to the page where your instances would be running. And here we have our instance running. It shows you the availability zone, US East 2C, and the instance is running right now. If I would have clicked right away, it would have shown pending. So it takes some time, a minute or so, not too long, to have an instance running. So, and also the status checks, it's still initializing the status checks. All right, and here the name, this is the tag thing. I mean, we could have done earlier, but they give an option to enter the name of the instance even after the instance has been created, launched, and is running. So I'm just going to call it like my instance OH 00. Yeah. So you can add a name for the instance that you have, and then you can click on this check mark, which will store the name of your instance. And right next to the instance name is an instance ID. Yeah, I think they could have come up with a generic, with a system generated name, but then we wouldn't remember that, so they just left it blank, and they said you mention it if you want. All right, so it's a T2 micro instance type, available zone, it's running, and you can scroll to the right to see more details about your instance, the public DNS and all. So this is one place where you can see this is the IPv4 public IP address, and then this is the key name that we used, remember, monitoring, and this is the it'll give you the name, the time, date and time when it was launched. All right, and it will give you the security group detail. You can put this guy back maybe now. It'll give you the security group detail over here that you used. Also, down below you'll see that three buttons here. This is to help you to make this. You have a pane down here, details pane. You can drag this pane up, or you can use this buttons here, which will automatically move your bottom view pane without you having to find that little line and then scroll up and down. So here it is. It gives you the details about your instance, more or less all the details that you saw in the horizontal when you move the horizontal scroll bar. But there are more details here that you can find. You have your subnet ID, you have your instance state, and all the other details. You can review. Most of them you already know, but these are the description and the details. The next tab you have is status checks. So you can set up some alarms, which we traditionally call alerts, but they call it alarms. So you can create a status check alarm if the instance goes down, who can be notified and stuff like that. The next tab is monitoring, which is a good tab. CloudWatch alarms. You can create alarms also here if the CPU goes high or any of the resources they touch a particular threshold, you need to be notified. You can get this. So currently monitoring is disabled. You can enable monitoring at 1 minute frequency. I'm trying to think, is it charged or not? So no, I mean, it won't be too, it won't be. Oh, that is detailed monitoring. Okay, I didn't want to go for detailed monitoring. I just wanted to go for just regular monitoring. But anyway, in one of the instances I started earlier, it showed as it is, which it showed the graphs. So, or maybe it'll take some time to populate the graphs. Okay, I will disable the detailed monitoring. I don't need it for now. But just basic monitoring is available. Once you launch your instance and let it run for a few minutes, you'll start seeing the graphs and lines over here. They give you all kind of details here. And then the last tab is tags, and we just have one tag for now, which is like the name of the instance. Alright, now we'll see how we can connect to this instance using PuTTy. If you have Mac, for example, you can simply right click and click on connect. Okay, you can also get this tab by clicking on connect on the top here. So if you have a Mac, you can just copy this line. See, it generated this line using the PEM that you created, the private key that you created, and it is already using your DNS. See, this DNS is your DNS, EC2 225. So EC2 225 US East 1358. This is your DNS. DNS is listed here also and here also. DNS is same as IP address, which is listed here, the IPv4 public address, and this is a public DNS. So if you have Mac, then you can simply copy this line and paste it, and you should be able to connect. I don't have Mac right now, or my Mac is not working right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect using PuTTy, and this is how we do. You already have, the key pair that you generated, and the DNS file that you, the DNS public DNS that you have here. You copy this, keep it in the buffer. So you can download PuTTy and PuTTyGen. There are two PuTTy tools needed. One is PuTTy and the other is PuTTyGen. Like here you can see I have this PuTTy and PuTTyGen. So what we're going to do is we are going to first use PuTTyGen, and we are going to convert that .pem file into ppk. Alright, okay, so this is PuTTyGen, PuTTy key generator. We already have a .pem file, so we're not going to generate a new one. We already have created one which is tied to that key pair, which is the key pair actually. I click on load in PuTTyGen, and I would browse to the location where I downloaded the key pair. Remember, we downloaded the key pair one time only option. So by default, this particular load private key page, it is only looking for .ppk, but remember our key pair extension was something else. It was .pem. Okay, so change this option from ppk to all files, and then you'll be able to see the pem file that you downloaded. And I'm trying to see, I can sort it by dates. I'm sorry, I've created so many of them in the past. So I'm going to sort by date, and I'm going to look for that PEM. PNG. Okay, sorry, wrong location. Happens, no problem. Alright, so it's just a real-time video, so I'm not going to I'm not kind of editing and making it, all that. I mean, if I have time, I'll try to edit out all these silent moments, but I hope it was not too long. Alright, I'm going to look into my folder, the download folder that I have. That folder open. Okay, this is the location. Sorry. All right, this is the one actually. My new key pair, and this should be under the downloads where I have that. Okay, this is my folder. I'm trying to get to this from my AWS page. Okay. The users, and it would be under downloads. Okay, there it is. My new key pair OH01820 PEM. So we need this .pem. Sorry, it took a little while to search for it. Click on that, and that gets into the file name field. Click on open. So in PuTTyGen, the moment I picked up the .pem, I get this message: PuTTyGen notice successfully imported foreign key. To use the key. Okay, now it says to use this key with PuTTy, you need to use the save private key command to save it to PuTTy's own format. That's right. So once the .pem has been loaded, I need to save it as a private key. So when I click on this save private key, it's asking, do you want to go without a paraphrase? Yeah, in a real world scenario with production databases and all, I think you should mention some kind of password here, but for this demo purpose I'll just save it without the passphrase, and now I can save this as a .ppk. Alright, so I'm gonna say this is my PM, my .pem was that, so I'm just gonna say this is my ppk also. I'm just gonna say ppk.ppk. That's the PuTTy private key that I'm generating, which I will need. Once I've saved that, I am done with PuTTy gen. I can close PuTTy gen now. Alright, and now I go to PuTTy. I'm sorry, I have a previous session. Okay. I go to PuTTy and I start a new session. In the new session, I'm going to say EC2-user at, and remember in my buffer I had that DNS, public DNS. If you don't have it, you can go back to the AWS page, instance page, and you can grab the public DNS. So I have EC2-user at public DNS. It is SSH, and one small thing I need to do is expand this SSH and click on this auth, and remember we saved that private key. We need to browse for that private key over here. Okay, just a minute, just getting there. Go to C drive, go to users. Some of the defaults don't work sometimes. Okay, I know I'm here, I'm in download. Okay, ppk. Remember I said I added a underscore ppk. It's an 820.pem. So that is a ppk I'm going to use. And I'm going to say open, and I'm going to say open over here. And it'll give you the option saying the servers, host key is not cached, you want to cache registry and all that. Yes, and there it is. You don't have to enter a password. You are connected to your EC2 instance using PuTTy. You do ID, you'll see that you're connecting EC2 user. You want to connect to, you want to sudo to root, you just say sudo say space su, and you are now connected as root. So this is your instance where everything is running. You can see ps-ef, and you'll see all the regular daemons and processes that root runs on a regular Linux machine. They're all right here, all the kernel options and files and everything, and also you can also see the file system that was created. df-h for human, and there you can see these are the file systems that you have, the dev and dev shm. If you go back a couple directories, go to root and say ls-l here, you'll see the regular directories that are there on a traditional machine. So bin, boot, and sys and etc, right? etc service, and everything is in place. So that's how you log on to your instance using PuTTy, and that's all I have for now. Thank you.